Hey, what's up everybody? Too Tall Toby here, and in today's Power Move, we're going to take a look at this question that came in from our friend Bo Lee. And the question is, hi Toby, can SolidWorks create a taper feature? For example, a ceramic insulator with a diameter of 6 inches at the bottom, increment space of 2 inches, top insulator diameter of 4 inches, and total features of 14. Well, the answer is yes, we can absolutely do this using a linear pattern and using the option for instances to vary or the option for vary sketch. And this is something that we talk about a lot in the training class called Toby's Intermediate/Advanced Part Modeling. So if you want to learn some more great tips and tricks in the world of patterns, or if you want to learn more about how to do lofts or sweeps or create guide curves or use the Pierce constraint or do multi-body design, be sure to go over to tootalltoby.com/training and you can sign up for one of our upcoming training classes. All right, with that, let's get into it and show how to create this ceramic insulator. Ow! So to get started creating this video, I needed to do a little bit of research. I've never modeled up a ceramic insulator, and I've never really worked in like a high-powered industry where I'd have to model up one of these for manufacturing. So I just went out to Google, did an image search, and kind of got the idea that there's some different configurations or some different versions of these insulators. There's some commonalities, but there's also some kind of distinct differences. One version might have all of the fins the same kind of uniform, like what we're seeing here in this image. A lot of the versions have the fins kind of tapering, so they start with a larger diameter at the bottom, and then they kind of taper up as they're going up. This is kind of what Bo described in his question. And some of the versions of the fin kind of start wide and then get narrow and then get wide and then get narrow and then get wide and then get narrow again. So that was the first thing that I learned as I was doing my research. The other thing that I learned is that the profile of the fins can be very different from one insulator to another. So I just ended up kind of going with this one here, just a real simple fin that's sticking out, and then turn that into a revolve. Ultimately, I ended up creating these three models here in SolidWorks. So one of them starts with a larger diameter at the bottom and then ends up tapering as it's coming up. The second one here, the same thing, but using a different technique, starts with a larger diameter at the bottom and then consistently tapers as it's moving up. And then this third one here, you can see I started with a larger diameter, larger diameter, smaller diameter as I went up through that linear pattern. So I figured the best way to show how this works is to start with kind of like a step one version of each of these models. So here's that first model. Here's kind of step one. And I'll do that with each of these three models. And then I'll go and I'll create the request from Bo kind of from the ground up, where I'll create it with that 6-inch diameter at the bottom, tapering up per his specifications. So here we can see this first model. It's one single body. I changed the color of the two features just to kind of make them stand out. So I started out with just a main post here, just to kind of give me the layout dimensions for this design. And then I created a revolve here for the insulator. And this is really where all the magic is happening in this functionality. It really comes down to making some good decisions with your sketch. For example, you can see here that the outer diameter of this sketch is defined as a diameter down here at the very bottom, and then a diameter up here at the very top. And there's a construction line going between those two diameters. So from 205 up to 160, there's a construction line, and that construction line has a tangency relationship to this arc here. This is very important because when we go into our creation of the linear pattern, we can use an option called vary sketch, which basically says that every instance of the pattern is going to maintain that tangency relationship to that outside diameter. So it means you need to kind of be smart about how you're creating your sketch. You don't want to overly constrain or overly define your sketch. For example, if I had a dimension here that went from this point to the center line and then crossed over, that's going to be in conflict with the idea of this thing tapering as the pattern proceeds. So you have to be a little bit smart. It takes a little bit of practice. It takes a little bit of experience, but ultimately you can get to this point where you've got a nice sketch here ready to go for your linear pattern with the vary sketch option. So here's what that linear pattern looks like. I exit that sketch of the revolve, I jump into the linear pattern command, and then I'm going to go down here to where it says features and faces. And then I'm going to click on a face of the revolved feature. And what that does is it brings up all of the dimensions that were created when you were creating the sketch of that revolved feature. Now, the reason this is important is because when you're creating a linear pattern, you can actually click a dimension to define the direction of that linear pattern. And although that's kind of a novel bit of functionality for the most part, there is one significant element of this, which is very important for what we're doing today. And that is that the Vary Sketch option will only become available if you choose a dimension from the feature that's being patterned. So when I choose this dimension here, you'll see that the Vary Sketch option now becomes enabled. If I didn't choose a dimension from that original feature that was being patterned, then this option here is not going to show up. So for example, if I chose an edge or an axis or a plane to define the direction of my pattern, this option here for Vary Sketch would not become selectable. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to choose that option for Vary Sketch. And when I choose that option for Vary Sketch, we see that it's kind of like nothing happened. The preview disappeared. Well, a lot of times you have to choose this option here for full preview. And now what we can see is that the geometry is actually tapering down as it patterns up in that linear direction. And the degree to which it is tapering is based on that original sketch. Remember, the original sketch had an angled line here that was tangent to the original arc there on the outside of that revolve. Well, when you use that option for Vary Sketch, what happens is all of the subsequent instances will also follow that tangency. So we can see here that if we set our spacing, and this is another kind of a cool trick here you can do in SolidWorks. When you're doing a linear pattern like this, you can see that this 35 represents the total height of that fin, the distance from the bottom of the fin to the top of the fin. Well, instead of typing in 35 here, I can type in equals, just the equal symbol, and then I can choose this 35. And you can see that what SolidWorks does is it automatically picks up on that spacing. And that way, if I were to change that from 35 to 40 in the sketch, the linear pattern is going to automatically update. And so then the final thing I need to do is just indicate what the number of instances are in this pattern. And when I hit the green check mark, boom, there we go. We've got ourselves a real nice tapered insulator here where it kind of started out at one value and continuously tapered in based on that construction line that I created that kind of is defining that taper. So that's example number one. In example number one, what we did was we created a linear pattern and we used the option down here for Vary Sketch. Very powerful way to kind of lay out your geometry and then use that Vary Sketch option to create your subsequent instances. Now, another option that we have here for creating this kind of tapered result is what's known as instances to vary. And this is similar, but it works a little bit different. So once again, let's just start out here with a part file here from step number one. So same thing as before, it's one single part file, it's one single body, the results are merged. I started out with a main post and then I created this lower insulator. The difference here in this sketch is that this time I don't have that construction line running up the side here to define the taper. Instead, what I've got is a dimension here of 160, which is defining the OD of that fin that's sticking out. Well, what we can do when we're doing a linear pattern command is we can say here for our features to pattern, we're going to choose this feature here. Here you can see for our direction, we're going to choose this dimension. We don't have to do this time. It's just kind of nice because it's all revolved features. There's not like an easy to select linear edge. So it is nice that we can pick this dimension here for our direction one. So we'll pick that dimension for our direction one. Once again, for our spacing, we can use that little trick that I mentioned before. So we can say equals, and then we can choose this dimension here, which represents the overall height of the fin. That way we get nice equal spacing there. And then the final thing that we're going to do in this example is we're going to go down to this option down here in our linear pattern, not Vary Sketch, but instead we're going to go down to this option down here, instances to vary. And when you use that option that says instances to vary, you can see here that the dialog box says choose feature dimensions to vary in direction one. Choose feature dimensions to vary in direction one. So what does that mean exactly? Well, what it means is if I click on this 160 dimension, which is the diameter of the fin, that 160 dimension shows up down here in this box. And now I'm going to have the option to change that dimension for the subsequent instances of the pattern. So for that 160 dimension, I could say that I want it to change and I want it to change by an increment value of, let's say, negative 6 millimeters. And so the preview updated. Again, the reason the preview is updating is because I've got full preview enabled over here. If you have partial preview, you're not going to see it update. But the preview updated, and so we can see here now what's happening is for every subsequent instance of the pattern, the diameter is decreasing by 6 millimeters. And so we started out at 160, we went down to 154, 148, 142, and so on, all the way up through the pattern. So this is a different way of creating a pattern that tapers, where you start at the bottom and you work your way up. This time, instead of saying that we want to lay out the geometry and we know what the top diameter is, instead what we're doing here is we're saying we just want this to incrementally decrease as we're creating the pattern. So this is a very powerful bit of functionality in the linear pattern command, the ability to use instances to vary and to specify that you want that dimension to change for each of the subsequent instances of the pattern. Now, the other thing that we can do with that instances to vary option is we can say that we don't want it to incrementally decrease, but that we want to manually input a value that's going to define the difference from one instance to the next. And that's what we've done here with this pattern. So let's once again go back to step 1 here. And once again, we can see here that we've got our solid body, one single solid body, 2 features. And once again, we see that the lower insulator just has a static dimension here of 160, defining that overall diameter. Well, what we can do here is we can say that we want to create a linear pattern. So linear pattern option, click here, features and faces, click this ceramic insulator disc. For our direction 1, we can click on this dimension here, this 30 millimeter dimension. Let's make sure it's going the right direction. Let's type our spacing here by doing equals and then clicking here on this 35 so that we have that nice equal spacing. And then let's go down here to instances to vary. So this is very similar to the previous example. For instances to vary, we're going to click on this 160 millimeter diameter. So now that dimension has been designated as a dimension that can change from one instance to the next in the pattern. And now what we can do is we can go to these subsequent instances and click on them. So I can click here on this instance. You just left click on the little magenta dot there. And we can say modify instance. And what can we modify? We can modify this 160 dimension because we designated that as a dimension that could be changed. So let's bump that down to 110 for that instance of the pattern. Let's modify this one, 110. And let's modify this one, 110. And so instead of needing to create a complicated revolve that starts outside, comes in, comes out, that would be a pretty complicated sketch. Instead, you can see here that we can very quickly and very easily create that geometry using this linear pattern option with the instances to vary. And then we can just kind of pick and choose which dimensions we want to vary and how we want that dimension to vary. So that brings us back to Bo's question. And Bo's question was, can we create this ceramic insulator with a diameter of 6 at the bottom, a spacing of 2 inches, and a diameter of 4 at the top with a total number of features of 14? So I'm going to say that means that, it's going to be 28 inches tall total. So I'm just going to start a new part here. I'm going to make this out of ABS. We'll use inches here as our template. I'm going to start out by going to the top plane and creating kind of that central post. I personally have noticed that this very sketch command does get a little finicky, and so I think that it's probably good to break up your features a little bit. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. So here you can see that I've created this feature here. I've created this post, which is just a 1 inch diameter by 28 inches. That's for our 14 instances by 2 inches. And actually, I'm going to add just a little bit to that on each end. So I'm going to make that 29. You'll see why in just a moment. And so now I'm going to go to the front plane. I'm going to begin a sketch, and I'm going to create just really simple geometry here for the pin. I'm going to start right at the origin. I'm going to create a construction line here, which is 2 inches long. And then I'm going to create another construction line coming off of the midpoint of that construction line. And then I'm going to create just line, arc, line. And then I'm going to kind of close this off here and say that I want that to be coincident to that point. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because now this thing is perfectly centered on that 2-inch dimension. And so I'm going to say that this has a height of 0.5. There we go. And now the final thing I need to do is just draw in that construction line. So this construction line here, you can see, is going to go from the top here, so coincident at the top, down to the bottom here, coincident at the bottom, or horizontal to the origin, either way, to make it coincident at the bottom. And then it's going to have a dimension here. So the dimension from this center line to that location is going to be 6 inches. And the dimension from the center line to this upper location is going to be 4. The top insulator has a diameter of 4 inches. And so the final thing we need to do here is just take this arc here and make this arc tangent to that angled line. And now we can choose this center line, choose features, revolve. And there we go. Everything looking good so far. Now this is where things get a little bit wonky. I'm going to go into the linear pattern command. I'm going to choose features to pattern. I'll choose this feature here. I'll choose my direction 1 spacing. I'll choose this dimension here, the 2-inch dimension. And here I'm going to say that I want the spacing to be 2 inches. And very sketch is on, with 2 inches at 14 instances. This should pretty much be going all the way up to the top. In fact, if I uncheck very sketch, you can see that 2 inches looks very different from when it's checked on. So something is not working right here. I'm not sure if this is like specific to my build of SolidWorks, but I will tell you from experience, I've had weird things happen with very sketch. And so the solution that I always try to do is just to kind of like break things up a little bit more, create a little bit of insulation, pardon the pun, between the different features. And so what I mean here is, instead of creating that revolve and the 2-inch dimension and hooking the 2-inch dimension to the origin, I'm going to get rid of that coincident relationship to the origin and just move this up a little bit. And I'll still make that line coincident to the origin, but then I'll create an additional center line here between the two, or even just a dimension between the two. Usually this will resolve the issue. So let's say I make that like 0.25, or I think I left myself an extra inch at the top, so 0.5 inches. And now I'm going to exit that sketch, go into the linear pattern command, choose features and faces, just like I did last time, choose my direction 1. Instead of choosing this, the 2-inch dimension from the sketch, I'm going to choose this dimension down here, which is kind of like outside of the feature being patterned. I mean, it's still in the same sketch, and now you can see that I'm using very sketch and I'm getting exactly the results that I was hoping for. So that's just like a little bit of a pro move from an experienced user. I don't know why it's glitchy. It's obviously glitchy, but it doesn't matter if it's glitchy. You can't just go to the customer and be like, sorry, Mr. Customer, it's glitchy. I can't deliver. You have to figure out how to make this stuff work. And so in this case, that's what I end up doing. If I can't get it to work, I'll end up just like kind of segregating the two. I don't know if the problem is the relationship to the origin. And so like the entire sketch is trying to have that, with very sketch, the entire sketch is trying to solve dynamically. Maybe the sketch is trying to solve with this coincident relationship to the origin, and that's causing some kind of a conflict. I don't know, but the point is that if you can just kind of like create a little bit of a gap there, a lot of times that'll help get through these types of weird glitches that happen in SolidWorks. And so now we see that we have accomplished the task. We have our fin at the bottom with 6 inches. We have our fin at the top with 4 inches, our 14 instances, our 2-inch spacing. Life is good. And I hope that answers your question, Bo. And I hope that all makes sense. Of course, if you do have any questions about how we created any of these patterns, let me know down in the comments. If you can think of some other cool ways to use this vary sketch or instances to vary, let me know that down in the comments as well. And of course, be sure to check out my other video. I'll include a link at the end on how to use instances to vary to do a circular staircase. That was a pretty cool power move we did a few months ago. Another really cool way to use this instances to vary. And I just want to remind you again that the training classes are now up on totaltoby.com/training. So if you like my style of teaching and you want to join me for a training class, be sure to visit us at totaltoby.com/training. And I will see everyone in the next Power Moves.